Welcome, everybody, to Freelance Writing Direct. I'm your host, Estelle Erasmus, the author of Writing That Gets Noticed, Find Your Voice, Become a Better Storyteller, Get Published, which was named by Poets and Writers a best book for writers. Every week, I speak with novelists, with authors, with writers of every niche to talk about their tips, their tricks, their strategies, and how the sauce is made, including creative advice. I'll talk about essays and articles and share my own experience in 3 decades of publishing. So join me every week and grow your business and build your craft with Freelance Writing Direct. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. And follow along on Substack, where I share special clips for subscribers only at estelleserasmus.substack.com. Hi, I'm Estelle Erasmus, writer, NYU professor, and host of Freelance Writing Direct. I'm so excited to share that I recently gave a TEDx talk called How to Get Noticed in Your Writing and Beyond, where I share the hard-won lessons I've taught at NYU and learned as editor-in-chief of multiple national magazines about how to make your message stand out no matter the medium. But I also get personal in my talk. I open with a funny story from my past involving Thomas the Tank Engine, one that proves it's not about saying more, but about saying what matters. And I reveal a vulnerable chapter of my life that taught me just how powerful it is to be truly heard. You can watch it on YouTube. There's a link in the show notes. And you can also look up Estelle Erasmus on YouTube. If it resonates, I'd love for you to leave a comment on the TED site. It means so much to me to hear the messages that stick with you from my talk. Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's Estelle Erasmus, and here's another of my summer shorts. And this one is focused on essays and mining your life for ideas. And I want you to sparkle just like my jacket, which originally was worn by one of the Bravo housewives, I think Melissa. Anyway, I want to talk to you about how to get those ideas and what to do. Now, I've spoken with a lot of editors, and they always say to me the same thing, which is everyone says, I have this sad story. I have this story about grief. I have this happy story. And that isn't enough. It has to have a hook. It can't just be an anecdote. This sad thing happened to me. So how do you make it resonate? You could do it in several ways. One is you have to have an idea that has some sort of differentiation from all the others out there. I'll give you an example. A lot of people want to write about Alzheimer's or their parents who have Alzheimer's. And just writing this happened, this happened, this happened is not enough. It has to either have more of a literary bent, like a piece that Jodi Arndt wrote about her mother for Next Avenue, or that I wrote about my dad, singing my dad back to me for the New York Times, or that if you're writing about mothers, like there has to be maybe a through line or thread, like my student Barbara Constantino wrote for Next Avenue about her mother floating in the sea. And it gives kind of this through line of the water and the relationship. And it was a fraught relationship. So you can use words, you can use literary, but it's sometimes good to take opposite ideas and see if you can meld them together. For example, one of my students works in hospice care. And so she came up, and this is in my Zoom class, which I do with current and former students. And I do it like a couple of times a year. Anyway, so She did two disparate ideas and she's putting them together, like, for example, bullying and hospice care. Maybe there's a situation of bullying with senior people or people at the end of their life or people losing their faculties that you wouldn't expect. That could be an interesting story rather than just say this sad thing happened with this person losing the end of their life. So if you can that's one of the exercises that I give to my students, is to take these two conflicting ideas, and they don't have to have anything to do with each other. It could be midlife motherhood, and you can take something like riding a bicycle. And so maybe it's, how riding a bike, learning to ride a bike in the middle of my midlife motherhood gave me focus and helped me reconnect the lost parts of myself. You see the idea, you pull different disparate things together to create a new whole. And that's one way. And yes, everybody says, pay attention, look around you, what the conversations are, keep a journal. I'll be honest, I really don't keep a journal. I write notes in the notes app of my phone, or I just keep notes just when something happens. For example, my dad passed away in March, and I wrote notes about something that happened that I do want to write about one day when I'm ready. And so I just kept the notes, but it's not a journal. But, whatever you do that helps you excavate and get these ideas or these memories together helps. But if you're looking, just try and pull two different ideas. Like, I'm just throwing this out there, getting a cat and buying a burial plot. Okay, maybe it doesn't make sense to you. Or maybe there's some connection that could be made, that the brain is synapsing and making that connection. So it's like burial plot. Having a cat made me think about death in a way that I never did before. And then you start synthesizing that information. And then, of course, it's always about the words. It's always about the language. It's about scenes. It's about showing sensual language, the language of seeing, touching, tasting, smelling. And this is something that I work with my students to do all the time so that their writing will get noticed. I'm different than most writing teachers. I don't just focus on the craft. I also focus on the generation and the getting published, if that's what you want. Some people don't want that. They just want to have like a legacy for the family, and that's fine. But to me, it's the whole gamut, because that's my background as a magazine editor-in-chief, and that's how I kind of look at the world. So let me know in the comments what you think and what you're thinking about. And also let me know what you want me to cover in upcoming podcast episodes or coaching episodes. And if you have an issue, and it could be anything, it could be writing, it could be getting noticed, it could be how to deal with a business issue, tap into me for a coaching episode, and go on my Substack, estelleerasmus.substack.com. And it's called Estelle Erasmus Writing That Gets Noticed. And I give craft tips, I give advice, I share the synopsis of my editor and call events that I do for NYU. And I have a recent one with the editor-in-chief of Cosmopolitan magazine and 17 magazine, covering both. So anyway, would love to help you, would love to hear from you. And keep watching. And I'm so grateful for everything you're doing and everything that you're doing to support the work that I'm doing. Bye-bye. Follow me at estelleerasmus.com on my website and on social media, which is Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, at Estelle S. Erasmus. And we're now on YouTube for Freelance Writing Direct. Follow along, and soon everyone will be reading what you're writing.